Howdy folks, how are you all doing? My name is Reese and welcome back to the Twilight Forest, where we have been exiled and forced to spend our days playing Tekkit and Twilight. And today is a pretty special day because, as you can see, it looks like we might have actually dug deep enough into the medium hollow hill to see inside of it. That's pretty exciting. Now, I think that's just that top cave that we wandered through once upon a time while trying to find the entrance into the actual hollow hill. And before you say anything, no, we're not spending a lot of time here today. Today, and I'm not even joking this time, we are actually, I was looking up drying racks. I wasn't sure if they were in here or not. They're part of Tinker's construct. We're definitely going to build some. That's not what we're doing. Today we are actually building the melter, the seared heater. We might even make a smeltery, basically focusing on melter, seared heater, maybe getting a tool forge. Those are the primary objectives. But then also, like, there's a lot of great uses for the drying rack. Like, if you have soggy noodles, you can make cold dry noodles. I don't want to do that. I'm more interested in, like, there's not a lot you can do with rotten flesh unless you want to make a death generator or a zombie scepter, which is probably similar to the scepter we already have. Possibly, I don't know what this recipe is. You have to have the zombie scepter to make the zombie scepter. Maybe that's how you recharge it. I don't know if that's like the scepter we've already got, but weaker. Do you want to make a dart of hunger? I don't. Or polished blood-strained stone. None of that's appealing to me. I'll tell you what is appealing to me, though, if we go back to the uses for the drying rack. Monster jerky. It's a good edible treat. This is basically if you don't want to cook things, but you still want to get some additional nutritional value out of them, or if you just really want what looks like a balloon that hasn't been blown up yet. That's what that looks like, right? That gelatinous slime drop, which can, of course, be used to create a filled tin can. I don't know. That keeps freaking me out, that thumbs up. It keeps taking me by surprise. But I just wanted to show you folks that this is making progress. It's going, and I realized the dirt one was filling up. So I added an additional barrel to either side to hold additional cobblestone and dirt, and this is doing fine. It's going to be a long time before this is filled. In fact, it kind of looks like we're not going to be getting any more wood out of here. So if we wanted to, it looks like, okay, there's some trees back over there that still need, I guess there's some more wood here. I was going to say we could start moving all the rest of this back. We're going to use it for the grand house expansion here in the future. It's February. We've been here over a month now. It kind of feels like we're not leaving anytime soon. I've been told that there's some kind of bizarre time dilation happening and that you folks are watching this in like June. Which is weird. I don't know how that works. Maybe this is a Narnia situation where time passes differently for me here than for you folks. Because I asked about, you know, can y'all give me some feedback on a Q&A that I want to run? And I'm still accepting more questions. Go to the community tab on the channel. Leave your questions there. But people, I've gotten some questions over on the Howdy Folks Discord. Some of the patrons have been commenting like, "Hey, wait a minute! Aren't you in the past?" I'm like, "Whoa, what? That's wacky and weird and unexplainable." So I don't know what's going on there. I have a question for everyone. You know, I think in a previous episode I said it was a shame you can't just climb into vines, right? Like if vines are against a solid object, you can climb them, kind of like right now. No one told me you could just hold down space and you'll climb the vine. And I guess my question right now is, how long has that been in the game? Is that a vanilla thing? Is that a modded thing? Has this always, like, vines were introduced in what, I want to say they were in 1.8. They might have been introduced in, like, full release 1.2 when jungles were added. I think that was 1.2, but I think it was beta 1.8. So 10 years ago. That means 10 years ago, I have been playing, over that long ago, now that I think about it, for over 10 years. Over 10 years! I have been playing with vines. And I suppose my question is, have you always been able to just hold down space and climb up a vine? Has this always been a thing? And I just never realized it? Please tell me no. Please tell me that's not the case. I would hate for that to be the case, if it's just always been a thing. That's very upsetting to me that I'd never realized in over a decade, and I found this out by accident after a decade! But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I appreciate that. I was thinking about getting rid of these ladders and replacing them with vines. And just having the only way we get around the treehouse being, elevators. But then also vines. We are going to build elevators in the future. I feel like it might seem like I'm putting this off. I'm not. There's a lot I wanted to discuss in the opening to today's episode. But now the time has come to focus on making seared bricks. And in order to do that, we're going to need to start off with grout. Who is grout? I am grout. Grout is a mixture of sand, clay, and gravel. Now, in the past, we collected a lot of gravel in preparation for doing this exact thing, which is stored over here. We've got 4 stacks plus 25, which is pretty decent. What we don't have an awful lot of is sand. And what's tragic is I always forget about the ratio. It is 1-to-1 sand to gravel. We do also need clay. Now, you don't have to use the blocks. If you have just like a single piece of clay, you can do that as well. But we don't have any clay, and I don't know if we found any clay. I'm hoping there's some down here in this river. What I'm hoping is that today's episode doesn't just turn into, oh, my axe is almost destroyed again. In case you haven't noticed, I've felled many trees. Not small ones, mind you. A lot of them. There aren't as many, like, look, we can actually see those over there now. We didn't used to be able to see those, and now we can, because I just keep cutting down trees. I'm worried that little orange fella is gonna show up at my house and be like, I speak for the trees! And then what am I gonna do? Do you think I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I'll stop cutting down the trees? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not the bad guy here. How bad could I possibly be? No, I'll tell you what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna stop, and then I'm gonna follow him back to his house, and I'm gonna fell him like a tree. Because that's what you have to do in this cutthroat world to survive. Alright? We're not gonna stop cutting down the trees. We have to fund the industry. I'm sorry. This is where, if you wondered, oh look, clay. That's convenient. If you wondered where the Brashiat Cub AI got his cutthroat business instincts, he didn't develop those on his own, alright? Those came from the source. Remember, he's programmed off my brain. I'm not saying I'd do everything that he did. I don't think that I would, intentionally destroy a village so I could force the inhabitants to come work for me in my factory. But you'll notice I never offered to rebuild their village. They were already there, so... And they seemed to be quite comfortable. I tried to make their lives a little better, all things considered. I did feel genuinely bad for what had happened to them. I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity to have, like, a built-in workforce, I'm just... sometimes the Brashiat Cub AI, he calls me dad. I don't like it. But sometimes he makes me proud, Sometimes. In some ways. I'm digging myself a hole here. I'm going to stop talking. What he did was bad. The Brashiat Cub AI is a bad guy. He's like Corn Pop, alright? The Brashiat Cub AI is a bad dude.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
And he ran a bad bunch of boys. Right now, for some reason, I'm mostly focusing on getting the clay, even though we also need a ton of sand. And yeah, we're still using this tool. I understand it doesn't, level up when we get things like this. It only seems to level up when you cut down trees. But it is effective. We checked. The Matic is effective on dirt. So even though it doesn't level up from doing this, which I think is a bug, it absolutely should. It said it was effective. Well, I guess this isn't really dirt necessarily. Let's give it a shot. What are we at? 576. 577. Okay. If you're digging up dirt, it does actually... What about sand? So we're at 577. 577. See, I feel like that's a bug. Because dirt is basically, if you have a tool that'll dig up dirt, it'll also do gravel and sand. And I feel like all of those should count towards its XP. Because it is effectively a combo tool. It is effectively a shovel and a hoe and an axe. And all of those things should contribute. What were we at? We're at 581. Wait, does the clay affect it? Then, hold on, I gotta find more clay. What I was gonna say is 581. 582. It's very selective on what it decides it'll accept XP from. So if we cut this out. Son of a gun. But not the sand. Baffling. Just baffling. But now we're gonna start collecting sand. Alright, that took a little while. I watched an entire In Deep Geek video. This is what we've got. We've got not quite 4 stacks of sand, not even quite 4.5. Down a couple. Hold on, I can fix that, though. I can address that. There we go. Got 4.5. stacks. We've got a lot of gravel, or no, I'm sorry, not even gravel, a lot of clay. But remember, if we want to create these things in bulk, we have to condense this down. So as we condense these, you can see we don't really have that much clay, but that's okay with me. I don't know what that sound was. Goodness gracious me. I didn't know I could make such a sound. What was the actual, was it 2 to 1? What was the actual recipe? I can't remember now. Oh, right, you've got to do it in like a particular pattern. That's fine. Something like this, I believe, will work. Was it that? It's that. Alright, let's buff it a little bit here. Let's try to get these up a little bit higher, if we can. And we can't, because we don't have that much gravel. Well, yes we do. There we go. There we go. Alright, 48 on everything, that's fine. I'm gonna tuck this away in there for now. That'll give us quite a bit of grout, which is handy, and we have some clay left over, which is also pretty handy, because we can use clay for other things. So temporarily we'll store that in this just chest of random objects. It's not, no, this is the chest of random objects. This is the chest of building materials, and blocks, and things of that nature. Still kind of a little bit random. So what we want to do now is, in order to get this into a brick-like structure, we need to go ahead and cook it up inside of a regular old furnace. Now, I will note, you might have noticed that inside of the melter itself, you can also make these. So that's using seared stone, and seared stone can be grout, it can be seared brick, it can be seared stone, you know, if we look at the recipe for these things. There's also another option. This is what I'm getting at here. I've got to find it. I can't remember what it's called. Here we go. You can take regular stone. It says chiseled right now, but it's like cycling through all the different stone options, you know? Basically, you can use grout, or you can just use regular stone inside of a melter or a smelter to create seared stone, and then you can cast it. So, really, you only need enough grout to create enough bricks to get a big smeltery going, so that you can then use just regular cobblestone. I went ahead and said, you know what, let's just make a bunch of it. I don't care. Let's just make a whole lot of the stuff. And in fact, I think I meant to put the clay back in there. What did I put in here instead? I put the sand, but I thought I hit 2 different objects in here. I didn't accidentally put grout in here, did I? I don't see any. So I'm going to assume no. Light gray wool doesn't go in there, though. Light gray wool goes over here. Let's not get silly with things. So now we got to cook this stuff up. And fortunately, we do have charcoal for that. Now, normally you would be stuck with the fragmented carbon if you're just playing Tekken 2, but because we have other random apps, or mods installed, we can use tiny charcoal, which will actually get us quite a bit more. So let's get back over to that and create like 48 of the stuff. That'll be fine. We're not going to cook all this up. Some of it we can cook in the smeltery. So we'll actually divide that by half. We'll put some up here. And then we will make some more, because why not? There we go. Another 40. I don't know why it goes to 40 and then stops. I couldn't tell you. But we'll let that cook into bricks. And then what we need to get started if we just want to build the melter, which is a smaller version of the smeltery, we just need a few blocks. So 6 from the looks of things here. And then a further 8 plus some glass to create the tank. But then also remember, we got to heat it up. So for that, we need the seared heater. That's another 6 stones here to and a furnace. Should we just go directly to smeltery? We've created so many bricks, I don't know why we wouldn't just go directly to a smeltery. Again, I think the main reason you'd want to build a melter is that it's smaller, it requires less grout, and then from there, you could just use stone to create more seared... Like, that seems like a good idea, but I feel like we might as well just shoot straight for the smeltery, because it doesn't really require all that much more. You need a controller, you need a tank to store the fuel... You're going to need, and that's just one of the options, there's also, we're going to need at least 1 drain, possibly more. I'd like to have more, because we want a table and a basin, and then to that extent, we also need the actual drain itself. Oh, that's cute. Scorched. I think we looked at that previously. That's built slightly differently. Yeah, you pour that over a brick. Specific. That's quite strange. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I don't know what the advantage would be. Comment down below, let me know what the advantage would be. But this stuff is cooking up just fine. You know what we need, because the potential of death is so high? and we have so many things that need XP, is we need to build something that draws our XP out. I think we even found something like that in one of the multitude of mods that we've discovered are in the pack. Let's get rid of that. We're not building another mini chest. Something we can drain our XP from and then store it away for later use. But let's get started here. So first things first, that's going to be our controller. We're going to need a couple of drains, so I will build the 2 of those. If we put the drain in the corner, and I'm trying to remember if you can put the drain on the corner, it wouldn't make sense from a realistic perspective, but this is Minecraft, so I think we can actually get away with having just the 1 seared drain. So we've got our drain, we're going to need the casting table, the exact opposite recipe for the basin. The regular blocks you build this thing out of are just 4 bricks like so. That's where the bulk of our grout is going to be needed. Should we go ahead and just cook up all of this? There's no reason, I mean, other than we could cook up the rest of the grout inside of the smeltery itself. We could also just toss it in here and have it going, I don't know. We also need glass. Do we have any of that lying around? From what I'm looking at here, no, which is a shame, so we're going to go ahead and cook up about 8 of it, and we'll temporarily swap this out. Yeah, mid-operation was probably not the best move, but it is what it is. Just stick the rest of this in here, and you know what? We'll keep it going. I see no reason not to keep it going. I'm going to try to do this one without looking at the recipe. This should be, yep, the seared tank. That is going to be what holds all of our fuel, which is going to need to be lava, which means I got to go find lava. Have we found lava before? Oh my gosh, it's so irritating. I feel like we have. Is that lava right there, or is that just something red? I feel like that has the potential to be lava. We'll go check it out here in a minute, because the mushrooms look more like that, and that looks like death and destruction, so we'll go give that a look. I wonder if there's any type of... Ooh, that also looks like lava. I wonder if there's any type of tank that we can build that will hold fluid after we break it. That's a question here. Let's look at our tank options. A seared tank with liquid inside will contain that liquid when broken. Okay. That's good. So we could use that if we wanted to. That's an option. There's probably others that'll do that as well. I'm not sure. Just based on what we've got here, I feel like definitely we don't want to try that with the Buildcraft or the iron tanks. There probably are others. I like the Openblock tanks quite a bit. I believe they're like multi-block, so you can just put a bunch of them together. I don't think they'll hold items when you break them, though. I'll check real quick. Oh, you can use the XP drain with one of these tanks. That's cool. It doesn't mention that you can break it. It's not that hard to build, and I think we do have, still, plenty of obsidian around. Well, no we don't. We have 4 obsidian around, but that's enough to do a quick trial run if we had some more glass, which we do! So, let's give this a shot. That's clearly the wrong recipe. I clearly got it wrong. I just don't remember what it was supposed to be. Dadgummit! Where was the recipe at? What's it supposed to be? Yeah, I was nowhere close. There we go. We got pains. And it pains me to say this. There's the tank. If we take it down here to a nearby water source, we can go ahead and fill it up. So... this is to simulate me... Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. This is to simulate me going out into the world and collecting lava, blah, blah, blah. I break it. Oh! It still has the water! And it holds quite a bit more as well. That's gonna be it then. That's the open block. Because I'm pretty sure that this only holds like 4 buckets. I could be misremembering. How are the eggs? Sorry. That's a lot of eggs. Let's cook up the rest of this sand. We're going to need more glass in the future. Let's just go ahead and cook it up. Doing great right now on seared bricks. I added more fuel earlier. We're getting there. So we've got the table, the drain, the tank, the controller. We're going to go ahead and get rid of both of these. I don't think we're going to build them at all. We've got the basin. We've got the... oh, we've got everything except the bricks, I guess. All right, well, how do we want to lay this out? We kind of built all this over here for it.